Hey there, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. I thought I would take some time and just do a live stream. I did one earlier in the week. It was pretty short. This one's not going to be too long either, but you know, I like to kind of look at the charts on a Saturday when I don't have to watch my trading platform and keeping an eye on that. So we can just spend time with technical analysis, looking for trade setups for the next week. And, you know, that's what this live stream is all about. So if you guys can hear me okay, leave a comment. Let me know that you can hear me all right. And then we'll just let people kind of join in. And we're going to just go through any stocks you want me to look at, any charts. So I'm going to start off with just a couple user charts that people have left comments in some of the videos this week wanting me to look at. So I'll kind of go through those, and then we'll go through the comments on any charts that you guys want me to look at through the chat, and then we'll wrap up. So again, we'll just give it another minute or so, and then I'm going to get started. Welcome as people come in. And yeah, just leave your comments on what stocks you want me to look at in the chat. And again, I do read the comments on my videos. I don't read them. I can't get to them all. But I do kind of scan through there and look for things that are interesting. It's funny though, when on trades when I'm right, you know, which I'm not right all the trades. Nobody is, you know. And again, that's one of the things that you just have to realize if you're trading stocks, that you're not going to be right 100% of the time. So you got to develop that skill. That's a skill that, you know, it takes time, but you got to be able to cut your losers. And I think a lot of people have I know that when I first started getting into just stocks and investing and not so much trading, or when I didn't really understand charts or what they even meant, you know, when you're first starting out looking at markets, oftentimes what you do is you just look at line charts. You go to like Yahoo Finance, look at line charts. You don't see volume. You don't see any momentum indicators. All you see is price, and it's a line, so it doesn't even give you a candlestick. And then you're just happy when things go up, and you're sad when things go down. And then you look for what happens is when things go up, I don't think you really care too much, but when things go down, you go over to the media channels like CNBC and Bloomberg and stuff, and look for reasons why it went down. And you know, once you start getting into technical analysis, you'll realize that those headlines that they tell you of why things go down are retroactive most of the time to the chart. So the chart will, you know, a sell-off will often be technically based, and maybe bigger picture it's fundamentally based, but a specific sell-off oftentimes is kind of set up based on the fundamentals, but then is triggered based on technicals. So it's technically based, and then the media will come in and say, oh, this is why this happened. Well, but the technicals will tell you, hey, this is likely going to happen days in advance, sometimes weeks in advance. And so once you realize that, then you just, you know, I don't watch CNBC, and I'll pop on there and look for what they're kind of pumping sometimes, just to see, and then I'll check the charts to see if there's an opportunity there, because oftentimes you'll get stocks, they're cheerleaders. So what they do is when a stock's doing great and roaring, usually you got a lot of retail people in on that stock, and so they want to cheerlead that because it makes people tune into their market, you know, into their media, into their channel and stuff, and their website, and then they get to sell more ads. So they're going to always cheerlead things as they're running up, and they're not going to tell you about, they're not going to be telling you about opportunities in areas most of the time that are not doing well, because there's just, the smart money is usually a lonely area, right? There's not a lot of people, you know, when a trade is setting up for a move, the crowds pile in towards the end of the move. That's where all the people, the herd shows up. And the smart money is usually, you know, few and far between. Okay, let's get started, guys. I'm going to start out today with Asana. I had a subscriber ask me about this, so I'm going to just kind of scan through some of the charts or scan through some of the stocks that people asked me to look at in the comments, and then I'll go into the chat. All right, Asana, this is one of those spec names. I've used this program, actually. I think it's like a project management kind of program or something, but and I believe it branched off from Facebook. But, all right, here's what we got. I had this trend line already marked up. When I pulled this chart up, I already had this one. And then what I did is mark out some of these support levels. I didn't have these marked up. They asked me where, they're writing this thing down. The comment that I was trying to make earlier is basically they said that they bought this and they're just been writing it down. Where's the support at? So, again, buying it is not the trade, it was to short it basically right here as you start to break this trend line support and you had negative divergence, showing up. So everything was telling you, okay, this is a short. And, it broke, drifted sideways, and boom, big old breakdown there. That's a clear sell signal, obviously, but you could have jumped in early, because you started to break the trend line, and I probably would have jumped in right in there and just let that thing chop around for a little bit. But boom, you caught that. So down it goes. All right, we're at some support right now, I think. So as I zoom in, I can see some support right here at about 62.05. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 tags of that. Now we're below it. See how it undercut that right there? Right there. I think we're going to probably pop up and recover that support line. And there is the potential to fill this gap right here at 88.75. Okay, so I don't know if that's going to happen, but if you start to see this thing pop back up and recover this support, I think we probably will run up and fill that gap. A lot of these momentum stocks that were kind of the ARK Invest stocks, they've been bombed out pretty good, so they're probably due for like a bear market rally, and it's likely going to be pretty impulsive. So that's a potential, right? I don't know if that's going to happen, but if you see that, I think a likely trade would be basically, if you get a recovery of this level, it's about 62, 61.90. Get a recovery of that, and look for a nice solid close. And then you trade it up to gap fill, all right? I wouldn't carry this thing too much beyond that personally, but that's a good trade. And that would be a move of about, what? 42%, so nice gain if you can get it. Looking at the hourly chart on this, we've got some bullish divergence. See it right there? I had it marked out. Let me get rid of that one. So there's the bullish divergence showing up. So this is a divergent low that it just made recently. And yeah, so again, I think it's set up for bullish price action. Just want to see that recovery and, some sort of indication that, oh, okay, this was a bear trap. Another thing, maybe it wants to make another little leg lower and then recover. So that's what I'd be looking at. And again, if it just rejects here, because this is a key level, so it doesn't have to recover it and rally. It could just reject here and sell down. And if that happens, I see this thin zone right here. When I say a thin zones are areas where stocks just trade right through. So like there's no trading, it's just up like that. So that's a thin zone. And then you get some consolidation areas like this where a lot more trades take place, and it's kind of a consolidation area. So if you enter the thin zone, which we kind of did, then you could fall straight down through that thin zone. And if you do, that's support, 42. Nice solid support down there. So if it comes down here, I'd be looking for bullish divergences and signs of a bottom. All right, that's all I have on that one. Let me look at a couple others, things that people want me to look at. Someone mentioned Vale. I haven't been covering that one because I traded Rio, but when I pointed out these trades, I've been kind of eyeballing this one. It's already ran, but this MSB, but it was kind of interesting. When I pointed out these iron ore miners, the three that I liked was Vale, Rio, and then this BHP one. All three of those look good. And I talked about those, weeks ago, saying they look like good longs. And, you know, I took Rio. That was the one I took. Look at that close. I mean, it closed pretty strong, up 3%. I think we're going to get a pullback right here, but I don't know. Maybe it's just, you know, I exited my position. I was looking for a pullback. Maybe it wants to run up to this next level of 74. But Vale, there it is. So again, the thing I liked about it, bullish divergence on the daily chart. See it? And then see how the momentum like that, and then the price was continuing to drift lower. Okay, so then we undercut this level. This blue line I had marked out, that's big support. March, you know, there's 2016. There's a tag here. And then we undercut it as I zoom in. Sorry, guys, just trying to line up. As we zoom in right here, okay, so that's a breakdown. You're like, oh, we've just broke a major level. You know, that's bearish. But that was a breakdown with bullish divergence. So it's conflicting things going on. The momentum indicators are telling me that, oh, that's likely going to be a false breakdown. So that's not a breakdown I would take, and I didn't. I was actually looking for it to recover, and it did. There's your recovery, and that was basically your buy signal for the most part right there. And, you know, straight up. So now we're coming, and look at Friday, you know, just nice solid move up 5.5%. So again, that's worked. If you took it, you know, if you took that trade when I pointed it out, you're up 24% or 20%, depending on when you got in. It's still a, you know, very profitable trade. We've got some resistance right here at 15, and then good resistance right up there. So I would say, all right, and I had the little squiggly line there. That would be a final target. You know, I think you could run up to this thing, get a little pullback, and then pop up. But again, for me, the final target would probably be right in there. Because I think what's likely going to happen there is you're going to get rejected. Maybe you'll come back down to the major trend line at that point. All right, this thing is in a bull market. Going back from 2016, you're clearly making higher lows and higher highs. But, you know, maybe you hit this and pull back. Okay, so that's Vale. Disney, and someone asked about Disney, and then I'll get into the guys. I'm going to get into the chat here in a second. All right, so I'll just start at the top. So yeah, Disney's probably going to gap fill. Right in there. Disney's probably going to run up and fill that gap. I don't see anything too interesting on that one. Let's move on. All right. I'm going to go starting at the top, guys, so just leave me a comment and hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so. I do appreciate it. I got 13 likes. There's 36 people here spending my time on a Saturday, so if you guys could just give me a thumbs up, it helps the channel. All right. Pfizer, PFE. All right, I know a lot of the retail people are hiding in the tech or in the healthcare stocks. I know that because I've heard that Kramer's been touting that, and so, you know, that's just something to notice. But it doesn't mean it's a bad. It doesn't mean it's not, you know, not going to work. Don't really have a clean trend line. Nothing that I can make, you know, make clean. There's something. Yeah, I'd say it's probably right about here, to be honest. Right there. All right, I got one line I can mark out. Okay, we got 3. False breakout. Bull trap. Right there. This must have been the holidays, the holiday ramp. Yep, false breakout. Okay, so that's one thing to notice is you've got a false breakout, a bull trap. That likely when you see that, that's going to send you down to the bottom of the range. And, you know, I only have 2 data points. I can't make a clean bottom of the range, but this is kind of what I've got for the March 2020 lows. I got a reaction here, so that might mean that. I'd say we're going down though on that one, to be honest. Just because for one thing, before I confirm that, let me take a look at these divergences. don't have much here on the daily chart telling me that we have a divergent high. We do have it on the RSI though. So see that on the RSI right there. Now we don't have it on the PPO. It's, you know, didn't really get that divergence there on the PPO. It's just there on the RSI. So split indicators, looking at the hourly here. You know, brief negative divergence right there on the hourly on both indicators. So that divergence was your tell when you're right here. That was your tell that, okay, you're likely going to have a false breakout. And you did. So again, me on this one, I go back to the daily, and I think this is kind of the most important chart right now on this one. And it goes to this false breakout or this bull trap. So what I would do is sell the rip on this. Let's say you rally up to resistance. That's where you short, in my opinion. All right, and then we're going down. And it's not going to go straight down, but it's going to, you know, we'll find some supports. There's clear support right there. Let me mark that out. So what it's going to do, or I would say the probability is it's going to do something like... It's going to go like this. Oh, sorry. This wrong tool. All right. There's your support. All right. Support, little reaction right there. So I think if you're going to run up to that trend line, it's about 57.60. That's the area to short, and we're coming down to here. Okay, 50, 40, and probably get a bounce there. But ultimately, I think this does, like, you're going to want, you know, the general markets is going to be kind of the main, we got to watch that. We got to watch tech. We got to see what starts happening to the S&P 500. But I could see a move down to here and probably, you know, even down to this area. Again, my trend line down here is only 2 data points, so it's not my favorite. But I could see this coming down in this area, while still being in a bull trend. You know, the bull trend's still intact. Okay, moving on. All right, Adrian, Solomatic, Mara, Melee, Riot, Snap, Twilio. So I'm not going to cover all those. I'll just do a couple of those. Mara. That is Mara, is that a Bitcoin play? I forget if Mara is a Bitcoin play. Mining cryptocurrency, yeah, Bitcoin play. So let's see. Had this trend line marked out here. Looks like I need to adjust that, maybe. Probably, yeah. I'm gonna leave it for now. So, I mean, this thing's been building a divergence for a while on the PPO and the RSI. You know, this has just been hype city, we'll call it, and it's been building a big negative divergence. But again, divergence is not a reason to just enter a trade. So, you know, this is a clean example. You know, you've got negative divergence right here. So that was a divergent high, and yet you still made higher highs. You made a higher high here, a higher high here, and a higher. So there's a divergent high. There's a divergent high. There's another one. I would say the bigger pattern is telling me lower because of this big divergence that's been building. This is probably going to come down when the Qs comes down. So I've talked about the Qs and the potential for a gap down or something like that. And if you see that, I think you'll see that here. Now I do have some support on this one, and I can't tell if it's here, honestly, or if it's, you know, down here somewhere. So, I mean, what I would do is just say it's like a range probably, and I would just want to wait for the range to get taken out. Yeah, it's kind of choppy. It's like this big chop zone. So honestly, I'd probably just want to wait. If I was going to short it, I'd want to wait for the bottom of the range to get taken out, and that's about 1944. All right, so look for support there, and if you don't get it and we break, it's going lower. And then at this level, we'll just watch these key levels. You know, the divergences tell me that it's likely going to do that. The big negative divergences that I've been building tell me that it's likely going to, you know, go lower. But again, you got to watch that level for the trigger. And then support at 1079. And then you got some support. Let's see. A little bit of reaction right through there. I don't know. We'll just go with this one for right now. And that, you know, but that's a ways down there. I mean, from where that's what, 60%? That's a good size drop for this one. All right. That's Mara. Just give me one, guys, one stock pick. You know, if you fire off a whole list, I can't just do all your whole thing. I just covered Vale, so if you want to go back and watch the video, I went through that. NILSY and SCM. I don't know. I'm not familiar with those. Did I spell that right? NILSY. That's an over-the-counter stock. Not my world. Okay, Stellantis Capital must be banking or something. I mean, obviously the banks have been doing well, at least last week. Hold on. Yeah, I can't. That's not super clean, to be honest, but we could maybe say it's that. Look, if you don't know, if you're trying to draw your trend lines and you just don't know, stay away from the stock. You know, there's other charts that are just better. This looks okay. Support, support, support. As I zoom in and see, you can kind of verify that. It's like, look at the reactions we were kind of having right in there, like a little consolidation area. Okay, broke, back tested. That's what I see. Breakdown and a back test. Now, let's look at our divergences and see if we have any. You don't always have them, but we do look for them. So, clear negative divergence there. All right, and it's there on the RSI too. I can see it. You know, it's basically right there. So negative divergence as you were walking up. There's your last divergent high. Broke trend. Now let me zoom in and look at the breakdown. So you broke right there. Good volume on that breakdown. See this volume right here? I got it right there, the volume candle. It's a nice volume breakdown. And then let's see here, you know, selling more, increasing selling. Yeah, I think that's, I'd say that's a break of the trend line and probably going lower. So it was actually objective on Friday to short it right there. And it's been objective for the last couple of days. So look for that to start to head lower here pretty soon. And if it recovers the trend line, then you exit, you know. So what I would do is you could short here with a stop slightly above. You could give it a little bit of wiggle room just for any kind of stop raid. But if they recover that, you bail, you know, you lose small. Otherwise, we'll look at some support levels to the downside. That would be kind of the first one. This came all the way down to here, which is interesting. Right in here, it's like a support range, I guess. Okay, so I'd look for it to come down into this range, and that range is anywhere from 1240 down to about 1210, and a break of that range, and you're heading lower. Now, if you get back down there, maybe you get a little bounce, but I think you're going to break if you get back down there because you've already hit it once. It held the support. You broke the major trend. You hit it. You bounce, you come down, maybe you get a smaller bounce, and then you roll over and break. Now, if that breaks, then we're probably going down to that big break candle right there. Well, that looks like probably the next level right there at 1020. Again, I'm not going to be perfect on my levels. You know, when I say like 1020, it's going to be right in that area, you know, it might not be exact. And that's why you typically, if I call this a profit target for a downside trade, I usually cover my short as I approach there. So when I get right in that little area there, I start covering. All right, guys, moving on. Leave me a thumbs up if you haven't done so. I do appreciate that. And we'll go for a little bit longer. Lost so much on Asana last year by selling it at a loss, moreover, and now PLTR is also an issue. Well, yeah. I'm just kind of scanning these comments, looking for things to cover. Roku. Well, I mean, I've been watching it. I've got it on my list over here. I keep an eye on all these, and it's just getting murdered out, you know, Roku. Bullish divergence, though, so watch. I'm seeing a lot of bullish divergence. These things have been smashed pretty hard. So, like, here's the RSI, and here's the PPO. So we made a new lower low recently, right here. But we're doing it on slightly higher momentum. Now, as I zoom in, like, here's the RSI. See, we're higher momentum here, but it's pointed down. So you want to see that start to point up like that to create that kind of peak or valley, I guess. And that would give you kind of confirmation. And then you use the RS or the PPO, you know, look for it to do the same thing and look for a bullish cross. Until you see that, you don't have confirmation, which means this could continue to sell down and, you know, take out this potential divergence and just make a new lower low. All right, so bigger picture is I wouldn't be buying it here until I see signs of this firming up. Not interested. All right, but probably coming down to some support. Looks like you got a little bit of kind of a reaction area, right? And let me see if I can find it. Maybe right there. You know, resistance, resistance, that was close, resistance, kind of consolidated, a little false breakout right there. So I'd say we're probably getting close to having a rally, 169.23, but that's not necessarily going to be, you know, we'll want to watch. You know, you're going to fall into support, and if these divergences start to show up and we start to fall into support with divergence, then that's an objective area to potentially take a long. All right, and that's how I would treat that. Now, I'm not thinking this is just, you know, the big stocks like Apple and all the FANG stocks haven't had a real correction yet. I think they're due for that. So these things kind of were first, and then maybe you see those big ones sell off. So that's going to continue to put some pressure, which means maybe this hits support, builds some kind of divergence, chops around while the other ones are falling. Then we start to run. All right. That's Roku. And then just these levels on the way up. You know, you got what, 202.20 and 236.89. This would probably be the final target for me, right up there. 294.40. That's really good. That was really good support right there. You got good reactions, lots of trades within there. And now you broke. So if you're going to trade bullish, maybe we hit this and we rally up to here. That would be my final target. Okay, I'd pull the plug on it up there, 294.41. Don't wait for the last penny either. Don't get greedy on that. Okay. Let's see here. What else you guys got? Oil stocks. I mean, they're strong. But I got to give other people an opportunity. Let's see here. I did cover ASAN already, Asana. So if you're interested in that, you can just go back and watch that in this video. I did cover that. Let's see here. Net. All right, well, let's look at net. Actually, I've got that one over here somewhere. At least I should. Maybe I have it on my shorts. I just build these lists. I don't think this thing's done selling off. I mean, so here, why would I think this is at support? You know, net. Someone asked me, do I think this is at support? And no, I would say I don't think it's at support. I think, you know, this is probably, you know, you've got this area here. Let me straighten that out. Good support down in this area right here at about 61.94. That's probably the final target right down in there. You might get a reaction right here at 94.82. I see some resistance. It's not a huge level though, to be honest. There's only one reaction. This is a better level right here. More reactions, better the level. That's kind of how you want to treat it. So I only got one reaction on this. I got one right here too. I got two, but down here I've got 1, 2. There was one that day. Yeah, I like this level better. So 86, we'll call it 87 basically, 87.12. Looking at the daily, no bullish divergences. See that? You just you're just plunging in price and momentum's moving lower. So momentum is moving in the direction of price. There's no divergence. Now we probably are going to start to get divergence on the hourly, I would think. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, very short term, we're getting some divergence here on the hourly. I don't know. I think we probably had a little lower, and this area right there is going to be maybe we get a bounce there at 95.09. I think ultimately we're probably coming down here, 61.76. So yeah, that's what I got on that one. That's my opinion, you know, with what the charts are telling me. Nvidia, yeah, you know, this one's going lower. I'm pretty confident on that. Nvidia. It was funny. I did get a little snippet that Kramer was saying that, you know, now's a great time to buy Nvidia because it's pulled back from the highs, and it has. I mean, it's down 20% from the highs. I know it doesn't look like much because I use log scaling. So for anyone that's trying to realize how to chart like I do, log scaling, okay? The reason why you use log scaling is because over time, pretty much all stocks go parabolic as they go up in price on a chart. It looks parabolic. Well, you can't chart a parabolic move, you know. So you need, I mean, you can chart parabolas, but it's just not the cleanest way. So you need to go log, and that'll give you linear, you know, the ability to chart long time frames in more of a linear method. All right, so here's support on Nvidia, or at least as far as I can tell. Down here. Yeah. So I think Nvidia is heading down here to about 231. That would be an area where if you were going to buy it, maybe, you know, somewhere, I don't know where this trend line, where it actually hits the trend line, but that would be the area. We've got a thin zone too. Look at that thin zone right here. This is just a ramp zone. So you break into that thin zone, which is basically right where we're at. They got to try to hold this key level right there, right where we're at basically. They might come down and fill this little gap here, 267, 268 we'll call it, and they're going to try to hold that. If they can't hold that, I think you go straight down. And you've got this thin zone where there's just no trade, so you're just going to fall right through there, most likely. And yeah, I'm not even going to mark that. I just think that trend line is more relevant right there. Okay, so that's what I'd watch on that one. Let's see the divergences. Yeah, see the negative divergence that was building right here? I kept pointing that out, saying, look, you got negative divergence. I think we're going to break. Then you broke. There's your sell signal as I zoom in. There was your sell signal. Big back, you know, a back test and moving lower. So, look, you got a high, and we're making lower highs. You got a lower high there, kind of an equal low. So I think you're getting a lower low, and then at that point it's obvious, and you just go right down. All right, that's Nvidia. AMD, I don't know about that one. I looked at it. It's not my favorite chart right now. Just a few more, guys, and then I'm going to wrap up. Let's see here. BNTX. Is that Burlington Northern? BNTX. I don't know what this one is. Biotech. Maybe. Pretty new stock. There's your IPO support. There's your long-term trend line, and there's your break. And look, I didn't even look at that right there. I just saw that, but see that you broke. There's a sell signal. You back test, and down she goes. So lower, and they didn't really give you divergences though. No real cue there on the momentum indicators. But lower is what I would say. I mean, over time, you know, we just broke. Let's see, you got some support. Kind of choppy. I guess it's right there. Not, yeah, I think that's about as good as I can get. Resistance, support. That green candle is kind of nice. See that green candle right there? See how it gapped below, but boom, they snapped it right back up. Just helps validate that as a support line. Support. Lots of reactions. So I would say we're at support right now. And it's going to go, in my opinion. It might not go yet. You know, you might get a bounce. If it bounces here, that's a short right up there. But it's sell the rip, right? Because we broke the longer term trend. So if you're long this thing, you know, you would either want to exit here or you could exit on the back test. But I would have probably wanted to exit. I don't know if you're going to get another back test, you know, at least all the way up to that trend line. There's nothing to say that you will. So if you're long, I'd probably, you know, get out of that thing. And then if you're wanting to short it, maybe wait for this level 208.20 to go and short that thing down to, it's going to be, yeah, it's not the cleanest, you know. It's not my favorite. I just, personally for me, I just wouldn't take any trades on this. I don't know. Maybe down in this range, probably just cover the top of this area here. Maybe short it down to there, 131.40. Okay, moving on. I'm going to do one more, guys, and then wrap up. So let me know which one you guys want me to look at. Lots of shorts right now, obviously. The market's, you know, I mean, there was some longs though. I mean, I like I've pointed out some longs recently, like these iron miners and the Vale, Rio, BHP, those are all longs. KHC I still like. It's been kind of choppy, but I like it long. I am long. I'm looking for gap fill. Here's a gap, the big gap from 2019. Looking for gap fill. All right, up into that area. So those are some longs. The gold miners, I'm definitely long on a lot of these miners. I think they still look good. I'll let you guys know if something's changing. They're just consolidating, seem to be building and consolidating and just frustrating people. But they're not really moving down. I mean, they're just moving, you know, they're just kind of going in waves. So, I mean, if you look at like from the low here on Barrick, that's back in February of 2021, so almost a year ago, and it was at 1864. You know, you went up, you came down, you're up. You just haven't gone anywhere really. But that's typically what happens when you get in a bull market, you have these big corrections that wipe out all the weak hands, and then they build consolidation for the next leg higher. Enron? Short that one. Bitcoin? No. I don't trade Bitcoin. I just, maybe I will in the future, but I just don't really. A Discord group? Yeah, I might. I don't want to. I haven't, guys. I haven't really wanted to commit. I don't know if I'm not super familiar with Discord, but I haven't wanted to commit to like a live chat room that I'm on every single day. I just don't want to have to sell subscriptions or sell membership for that and then just commit to that time. To me, that feels like a job, where you basically have to just sell your time for money, and I'm just not really interested in that. But that's why I do videos. I get them out, and then, I don't have to commit, because I wouldn't want to charge you guys a membership for something and then just like not get, not deliver. So rather than that, I can, put out videos and stuff. And, I've got a course teaching people some of these skill sets. So you guys can check that out if you haven't done so. So, maybe I'll do it, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, last one, guys. We're going to go with, I'm just going to pick one here. AA. Let's look at that, because I've talked about that one in the past. That didn't work out as a short when I did it last. This is Alcoa. The commodities, they're just ripping. Which is, that's the thing, is the commodities are ripping, and that's putting pressure on the Fed. Here's what I think's going to happen. I don't know, but, the math doesn't work for the Fed to raise interest rates too much. They just can't do it. And, they can, but they're going to have to just tank the markets. They would tank the markets if they really get aggressive with the raising interest rates. So, yeah, they're going to try to they're trying to walk the market down a little bit. The Fed never wants crashes, and it doesn't really want, parabolic moves to the upside. They're going to try to walk the market down, and especially the tech stocks and anything that's just gotten stupid. They're trying to walk it down. Now, if they succeed, the market's going to come off. Maybe we get a 20% correction or something, or 15%. They probably don't want much more than that. So they'll start to ease up on their hawkish narrative. But what they're doing is they came out with those minutes, and clearly they're just trying to spook the market a little bit. Like, don't test us. We've got all the tools. So the market is going to say, okay, we'll sell down. All right, we're taking your warning. We'll sell down, and we'll have a correction. And then once that happens, if the market sells down, the Fed can start to back off their hawkishness and say, okay, well, we're just we're going to be a little more patient. We see some signs here that maybe there's some things we don't like, and at the end of the day, yeah, they'll hike some rates. They're clearly going to hike rates because they are that path is set in motion, and the Fed doesn't surprise. So they're basically they forecast it and then they do it. But they're not going to hike rates that much. They're going to they'll do a couple hikes and then they'll ease off because the math doesn't work for them to go actually too high. So what I see is an opportunity in the future. Maybe it's not maybe it's not quite yet, but I think there's going to be opportunity on that inflation trade after the market kind of comes off a little bit to load back up into those, because the Fed just can't hike interest rates unless they want a depression. And the thing is, why would they have spent like 2018 cutting rates, pumping the market, COVID pumping the market? Why would they spend the last, all this time pumping the market higher just to turn it around and let the thing collapse? Low probability, I believe. But doesn't mean we can't get a correction. You know, I'm not looking for. I am potentially looking for a bear market, but it's going to be a walked down bear market, at least in the beginning. And that's how most bear markets start. They start with kind of a nice, the Fed tries to walk it down, hiking interest rates a little bit, walk it down, and then they lose control and things start crashing. And then they turn around. That's when they change. So that could happen. I'm open to that. But it's not going to crash from the beginning. They're going to walk it down. The market's going to come down, and then we'll see if they lose control. So Alcoa here, uptrend right there. Yeah, I mean, you are making, you know, it is building negative divergence. But not recently. I mean, you see this high right here, and then you put in this new high, and it's a higher high. The momentum definitely came in. So I'm not shorting this thing. Let's just put it that way. Not until I see some more signs of a breakdown. Now this trend line right here, this lower trend line, it's got a lot of reactions. We broke it briefly, but it was a false breakout and they recovered it. If we break again, and at this point, since we're so close, I would just wait for this level, 57.50. If you break that, then you're probably going to come down. All right, you're going to get a bounce here, you know, maybe even bounce up to here, but then you're going to break. You're going to come down to here, and yeah, I would say either this would be my final target on a short or that. But that's only if I see a break of 57.63, maybe some different divergences starting to show up. Okay, so if I get that, then I'd look at those levels. Otherwise, this thing's just marching higher, and I don't see any different change in that. No, guys, I didn't cover triple Qs, but I cover that in every single video throughout the week. I'm short triple Qs, you know. I mean, I can look at that real quick. Again, I shorted it right up here. I talked about that. You know, I think we got short right. I'm pretty sure it was this day that I got short on the 4th, and just, you know, did well. It got, you know, look, it took 4 days, and we pretty much wiped out all this, you know, all these gains and choppy action for going back to about October, late October of 21. So, you know, 2.5 months wiped out in 4 days. Welcome to the short side. And let's see. Oh, the other thing I did want to point out on this, I didn't in a video, but the weekly chart, and I've been talking about this, I just haven't reiterated it for a while. But, and I got all kinds of lines going on. But again, this candle right there, okay, bearish engulfing. And I've talked about that when I saw it show up. Bearish engulfing candle on the weekly chart. And if you roll back, and the next week, more selling or confirmation. So to me, that looked like a reversal candlestick pattern on the weekly chart. And that has bigger, you know, the weekly chart's usually good for 10 to 20% corrections, not just little dips and then buy the dip. Okay, if I roll back and I look at the weekly, where did I have bearish engulfings in the past? Well, there's one right there. There's a bearish engulfing. And that dropped, you know, that dropped about, what, 12% basically from high to low. And then that's not really a bearish engulfing, but yeah, you don't see them too often. There's one. There's a bearish engulfing right there on the weekly. And that from high to low, that was a, what, 20% drop. So again, they're usually pretty good. And so far, all we've had from like high to low, what if I can grab it? I got to get rid of this. Yeah, oh, there it is. All we've had is a 7.5% drop. So I think there's more downside. I think we're going to break this blue pattern, this support line on the weekly that's marked in blue. I think we're breaking it, and we're going to head down to this red line that I have marked out. And if I roll out, There it is. This is your bull market channel. And okay, coming back to 2009, and then the Fed pumped us out of this. This is kind of market manipulation essentially from the Fed. I think if the Fed's going to pull back and say we got to fight inflation now, we could easily come down to the top of the channel and possibly even the bottom of the channel. And that would still keep this thing in a bull trend, a bullish trend, all right? And that's a big move. It's just the Fed pumped us so far up here that, yeah, I mean, we can have a 30% drop and still be in the bull trend. So don't put that, you know, don't fall asleep on that. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out. Check out the stock market technical analysis course I put together. I priced it appropriate, so it's $99. You know, everybody should be able to get that if you haven't gotten it, and build your skills. It's well worth $99. What's $99 nowadays with inflation, anyways? I mean, $10 for a package of bacon. It's crazy. Anyways, guys, I will catch you guys on Monday. All right, take care.